What's going on, Joe fans? This is Nicholas, also known as in like Flint. I wanted to do a brief overview of something that's pretty commonplace and well known to most other Joe fans. To me, not so much. We're looking at the 1985 Joes here. One of the things I've blabbed about in other videos is, so I grew up with Star Wars from 78 on, getting those figures. 82, G.I. Joe starts coming out. I start getting into that. 82, 83, 84. However, in the middle of all that, something happens. In 83, Return of the Jedi comes out. My focus switches. So I start getting less and less G.I. Joes and getting more and more Return of the Jedi figures. In the middle of all that, there was Empire Strikes Back, which is my one, true love, movie-wise and action figure-wise. So started out getting Star Wars. Continue getting Empire Strikes Back. 82 comes out. I get a Vamp from my brother, and that kickstarts the whole G.I. Joe obsession. But then it gets paused briefly. 83, swivel arm figures start coming out. I'm getting those here and there. But then Return of the Jedi comes out. So I do an about face. I come crawling back to Star Wars. Take me back, take me back. And I'm focused on Return of the Jedi for a little bit. 84, I know I got a handful of those here and there. Duke, Mutt. But something else happened in 1984 that distracted me from G.I. Joe again. A little thing called Transformers. Suddenly, I go from wanting space, wanting army figures, to wait, these are giant robots that are from space that also transform into vehicles? Okay, deal me in. So that gets my attention for a year, or two, or three, or four. Transformers are more expensive. And I think at this point my family's like, well, he's getting older, he needs to get out of toys. That ain't gonna happen, unfortunately. So, I don't get as much variation. It's just, okay, right now he's into this, we'll indulge him, but Transformers are expensive. So the quantity goes down, quality goes up, but I pretty much missed 95% of this line, this wave at the time. And I know that I had this Snake Eyes at some point. '85 Snake Eyes and Timber. I remember. That's not his original sword. His backpack is also missing a peg. Not a peg, tab? A cleat? I don't know, whatever that thing is. I could get a new one. I can get a new one anytime, don't worry about that. Oh no, don't worry about Nicholas here and his missing backpack, but I just haven't got around to it yet. Because this will sound like blasphemy, this is not one of my favorite figures. It's okay. He looks cool. No, he doesn't. We'll come back to that. Let's put him back here for the moment. But anyway, I didn't have any of these guys. It wasn't until later on, when I'd already gotten back into collecting Joes in '87, that I found like an Alpine or a Bazooka, at a flea market. I know I had Lady J at some point back then, but that might not have been until, like I said, 88, 90, somewhere around there. And I didn't have this guy who's like one of my favorite. No, you know what? For right now, we're gonna just say no. He's my favorite character. In case you couldn't tell, with the whole name of the channel in like Flint. This is Flint. That would be why. So how did I even know who Flint was back then? I was watching the Sunbow Cartoon. Transformers, G.I. Joe, Thundercats, all this stuff was on, you know, at the same time every day. Mask. Oh, Mask distracted me for a little bit too. That's part of the problem. But anyway, I didn't have any of them. None of them, except for that Snake Eyes and these two later on. I remember the first time I saw this wave in this privately owned store at the Merced Mall in California, a store called Young's, and I was getting, you know, earlier G.I. Joes there. I was getting Transformers, Star Wars, but I see this entire wave out. And different from what would happen later on when I would get back into the line, I was mad. I'm looking at these figures, and we had seen some variation with the other years before that. We go from the green shirts, you know, the original 13, to, you know, Gung Ho, Roadblock, Rakondo. We've got all these different characters in different outfits. You know, we've got Spirit, we've got Blowtorch, and I liked that at the time, but something about this wave, when I saw it on the shelf, I got mad. I was like, what is going on? They got a sailor? We got a sailor? What the hell? And I'm pretty certain that the first time I saw Flint, I thought he looked stupid. I'm looking at that smirk and I'm like, what are we doing here? I'm happy boy. I could not stand him. I thought he looked like a reject from Hogan's Heroes or something. Yeah, I was a moody child. But I did not like any of them. I saw, and again, this is funny how much my tastes have changed. There's a lot of these figures now that I think are awesome. I'm looking at this, I'm like, why does he look like a robot chimpanzee? What is up with his face? What is going on there? This is a firefighter? What the hell? I remember seeing Dusty and thinking it looked like he had shit smeared on his face. And the proportions are slightly different on a lot of these, I think because of the ball jointed neck. So some of them suddenly have bigger heads compared to what the previous waves had. I think that was part of what was throwing me off too. I've always been really hyper aware of changes in things. So we go from little tiny thin plastic helmets to this shit all of a sudden. And I'm like, it looks like he has a salad on his head. You know, it's, as far as I'm concerned, I'm like, this is like the same guy, just with a darker mustache and a different shirt. What's going on? That's, again, hyper aware of some details and ignorant of other ones. I mean, sometimes I'd get overwhelmed. I'd walk into a store and get overwhelmed by everything there and kind of disassociate for a little bit. So, you know, this shirt didn't help. I could not stand any of them the first time I saw them. And one of the things I hated about this Snake Eyes, he's got a dad bod. He's just got a big lumpy waist. And maybe I've got some body dysmorphia going on myself, but I was like, why is Snake Eyes fat? So I was not a fan of any of these when they first came out. The Awestriker, I hated the name. This is supposed to be a celebration of this wave, but again, I want to give you an idea of my original thoughts when I first saw these. Again, dad bod. He's got like almost what looks like a dirty tank top on, and then his waist is lumpy. Now, again, I don't as they're designing these figures, they're tweaking things, they're learning new things. Quick Kick, I love this figure now, but when I first saw him in the store, I'm like, what in the hell are they doing to G.I. Joe? What? This is like Village People and like Kung Fu like movies, and I don't understand what's happening. So I was not a fan. Even Airtight, who now I love this figure. What's the first thing I think of when I see him? And him? Their helmets don't even come off. This wave could not do anything right to make me happy. I was just mad. This helmet doesn't come off. This helmet doesn't come off, and he looks like a chimpanzee. Like, and half of these characters back here I wouldn't have even seen. I'm pretty certain the Ostriker was on shelves at the same time, and I probably glanced at it, and again I'm like, it's another guy with a mustache and a big helmet. Granted, this helmet looks a little bit better, but you know, if I knew what I know now, I would have loved this figure. I remember seeing him at Jed's and being like, that's what he looks like? Whoa. Like, I love that I think it's actually a sweater. I was gonna say sweater vest, but his sleeves are green, so he's got like a long sleeve sweater with the sleeves rolled all the way up. He should have been British. I don't know why he wasn't. Yeah, this isn't Heavy Metal, this is Rampage, because he's got a clean face. But that's what I got for right now. When I would see this figure, again, same thing, I was like, he looks stupid. And I've got like 4 of him now. So I don't know what my deal was. I think I was just more fixated on clean-shaven, feathered hair Star Wars people and giant robots. And there was no place in my life for mustache rides. That's not his original gun, obviously. Is that Hawks? I think that's Hawks, actually. Or did I pull that off of... I might have pulled that off of somebody else and given Hawk his gun back. I'm not getting up off the floor right now. I'm old. But anyway, so, you know, that's my original jaded view. Oh, you know what? We didn't even... How do I leave out Lady J? Again, going back to the size of the heads. The original 13 and the later waves, everybody was thinner construction, thinner torsos, smaller arms, and smaller heads and thinner helmets. And then I see this on the shelf, on the peg hook, this giant Carol Burnett head. And so again, I was like, I'm done. I'm done with G.I. Joe. What the hell did they do? Now, again, that was probably my first time seeing the characters, was seeing the figures. But then once I start watching the cartoon again, it would have been what? Well, Revenge of Cobra. We first meet Duke, Lady J. We get the new Snake Eyes, and Shipwreck. So I'm watching this show, and I'm like, I'm not going to get any of these figures. Everyone's already said, no, you got to stick to this line for now. But Shipwreck was freaking awesome. They kind of made Shipwreck a joke after Revenge of Cobra, but I mean, he was really smooth. He was dark, he was edgy, he was more like Han Solo crossed with Jack Nicholson. And Flint and Mutt and Shipwreck together at the beginning of that was really cool. I felt bad for Roadblock getting left behind with the vines, with the tentacle rape vines going on and everything. Not cool. But he got out of there. So as I start watching these characters, and then when Pyramid of Darkness comes out, and the second season, and every day I'm coming home from school and I'm seeing this new opening with, the giant Cobra mothership thing, and Flint punching and throwing people, I'm like, oh. So that then became, I grudgingly accepted the new Joes and got to know all of them, and those are some of the best freaking episodes. But unfortunately, I gotta say, this Snake Eyes here, I love the original Snake Eyes. The stuff Larry Hama did with him in the comic, and how he looked, all in black with the goggles, I freaking loved him. The stuff Sunbow did with that original version of Snake Eyes in the first miniseries, that made me love him even more. And that's where we first met Timber. But then this figure comes out, and I think I just grudgingly got him because he was hard to find, and I found him one day, and I'm like, I better get him. But I cannot stand the visor. I don't get the visor. The visor never made any sense to me. It's very 80s. If we never had the original goggles version and this is what we got, yeah, I'd probably like this more. I can't stand the visor. I can't stand the visor. I miss the symmetry of those dual straps, the original 13 body. And again, just his proportions are weird. He's doughy. He's got like a dad bod going on. I should know. I'm older now. It's not a terrible figure, obviously, and I don't want to sound like an ass, but it's not my favorite. And they don't really do very much with him in the cartoon. Nothing cool happens, really, with Snake Eyes. In the comic book, yeah. Now, when I'm reading the comic book, and is it Rod Wiggum's artwork during this era? Yeah, that's completely different. Then I like this Snake Eyes again. But again, he's not my favorite. His gun right now is rolling around on somebody else. I started using his M16s with the strap. I started taking those from him and Sneak Peek and give them to the original 13. Because some figures like Short Fuse look better with an additional weapon hanging off of them, backup standard weapon. So for right now, he's got this. I could get up, but you don't want to hear that right now. You don't want to hear me grunting and groaning. This looks a little cooler, though. This is more substantial. And real world works. I've grown to like this figure more. I bought like 3 of them. But he's not my favorite. He's not Grunt. Grunt is life. Grunt is love. I couldn't stand him on the cartoon. He just seemed like a dirty hippie. He's cool, though. It's a really good sculpt. He looks like Tom Selleck, especially the repaint of him, of that head, used for Claymore. So who knows? I might take one of my extra ones and repaint his hair and eyes and mustache and stick him on a Chuckles body or something. It's a good looking figure, though. He's freakishly tall. I'll bring this up later. I don't know why Flint is so small. Flint and Airtight are like the smallest ones in this wave. It's kind of frustrating. But again, I I get having a standard drab military themed figure. It's just as I get older and I get back into the line, I'm more attracted to the ones that are exciting, that are toys, that are brightly colored. I never thought I'd give a shit about barbecue, but I love that color. That makes me want to eat some candy corns. It's like heat. I don't even like candy corn. I love that gray. I think when I was getting into the 25th line, that was, for me, the first time I got a lot of these characters. And that line has aged terribly. They do not look good in retrospect. These have aged better. These look like action figures. They look like toys. They're proportioned well. They're designed well. They stand up better than the ugly, rickety, spindly, rubbery 25th line with that god-awful mid-torso cut. I don't know why that became popular, but that's so unsightly. Having a big line breaking up the sculpt. It's like, you know what? These aren't real people. That turn, that's good enough. I get it. I get what you're trying to do. You don't need a big gash across the middle. When Star Wars started doing that, I was so mad with the stormtroopers. I remember being just really disappointed. And then they start doing that with the 25th line. That was one of my least favorite things about them. That and, you know, taking away the screw hole and having to break the figure apart just to do a custom. This is one of my favorite things about G.I. Joe, is being able to just pop out that screw to do repairs or to just swap parts around. It makes it so much easier. So again, we get a firefighter. Okay. He looks cool. But I think one of my favorite surprise ones from the line, I picked him up at a thrift store. I actually picked up two of him in the same day. One was incomplete but had awesome paint, so I grabbed him, and then I went to the next store, a vendor mall, where I knew there was a complete one with not so great paint, and bought him as well, and just swapped everything around. And you can see here, I've given him Salvo's case. This is another accessory along with Recoil's Claymore case that I try to buy extras of whenever I can, because it's just a really cool accessory. And it looks like he would have, you know, biological samples in there, antidotes. I don't know what he's doing, but it looks cool. And unfortunately, while he does come with quite a few accessories, he doesn't come with enough. I can't really give him a gun. There's a lot of figures that didn't come with weapons, or standard weapons sometimes, that need them. But just giving him something extra to hold in his hand improves the playability of the figure so much. His sniffer gun, I mean, I was never sure if it was supposed to be a vacuum or some kind of sensor scanner thing. One of the best figures in the 25th line, when it wasn't 25th, it was what? G.I. Joe Renegades, I think was the packaging. That Airtight was a really good figure. Unfortunately, when you get a really good figure like that, New Sculpt Airtight or Lifeline or Law and Order, it just further underscored how shitty most of the other 25th figures were. You'd put them together and it looks worse than how, like, 80, you can't see him, but Hawk is back here, and Grand Slam, a bunch of straight arm figures are on the upper walls of the command center. I don't really want to bump the thing and move it, but one of the things that bugged me as a kid was how some of the figures look next to each other, but these have aged appropriately and actually look halfway decent together, even though there's no swivel arm, and they're a little bit more, you know, plain and spindly. Looking at some 25th figures compared to later releases, like, you know, Flint was awful, and you put Flint next to what is that guy? What is that guy? What is that troop builder? Techno Viper. Techno Viper was a gorgeous figure, and they don't even look like they're from the same toy line. They just dropped the ball on a lot of those figures. They cut corners. They gave Duke and Flint the same body, and Flint's supposed to have rolled up sleeves, short sleeves. So that always bugged me. I had to like customize my own Flint out of like 8 different figures. That's a tale for another day. But shitface here. This is another figure now where I'm like, he is freaking awesome. I've got 2 of them. This one is like way tighter than the other one, and I'm like almost afraid to move him. I'll usually boil some water, dunk their arms before I try bending their elbows, and then I'll kind of treat their elbows with some mineral oil to like rehydrate them so they don't crack, hopefully. I've had pretty good luck so far. 95% of the figures I bought that did not come with elbow cracks, and that's most of them, because I don't do elbow cracks unless I think I can find a replacement arm quickly and painlessly. Most of them, 95% of them, have not developed elbow cracks, so lube them up. He's got a giant ass head. He's got weird little piggy eyes, and it looks like he's rubbed shit all over his face, but I still love this figure. He looks badass. Tighter. Quick kick. You notice I'm gonna save these 2 for last. You just know that, right? Quick kick. So this is the original Quick Kick. The weapons for him, though, are from the mail-away. I think it was from the plastic was from Argentina. He's more orange, too. He's rolling around here somewhere. But, again, Quick Kick was one of these ones when I was building this wave and catching up and going, okay, this is awesome having all of these guys. And he's not painfully, racistly gold colored like the 25th one. I knew he was going to be an issue. His feet like to get paint wear really easily, and cracked elbows, and just paint wear in general. But I found a really good one that was incomplete, and so I was like, all right, let's get that one. And then I bought a sealed mail-away baggy one of the mail-away one, obviously, that had all his weapons because he was sealed. And that one arrived first, and I tried messing around with them a little bit. And one of the things I made sure to do before I put a weapon in their hand, that hand is going in some boiling hot water to soften the plastic. And then once you do that, the hand is like, I need to illustrate for you evidently how a hand works. The hand will behave like a Star Wars Power of the Force 2 figure. Get really soft, really flexible. So when you do that, it's safe to shove a gun in their hand, or you can see here I didn't put that all the way in his hand because that thumb and forefinger are too close together. I'd have to soften it with some hot water. And usually I put his sword in that hand. But on the mail-away figure, different plastic, does not flex. If you heat it up in hot water, nothing happens. And I was like, oh, I can't even put the weapons in that one, period. So he's in a box somewhere. He's in timeout. But the good thing about his getting that one is the weapons were more flexible. I guess this can break. This likes to distort or get kinks in it. But they're both way more flexible. You can see it's a little warped from being in the backpack, but again, looks just like his normal stuff, just slightly more flexible, so I don't have to worry about this breaking. You can't see what I'm doing, I don't have to worry about this breaking, and that's a good thing. So MacArthur Ito, oh my god, MacArthur Ito. This is a badass figure. I freaking love him. He's another one, they didn't do much with him in the comic, but I really liked him on the cartoon. And he could have been stupid and cheesy, but he does a lot of bad impressions. But when I go back and watch those episodes with him, I really like Quick Kick. It surprises me, but it's one of those so bad it's good, just good, dumb, fun characters. And the whole thing with him and his girlfriend Amber, and Cobra Commander doing that, I think that's one of my favorite episodes. Destro gets so pissed off that Cobra Commander's grand scheme with this laser is carving his face on the moon. That's one of the best reveals, best punchlines. Destro is so just disgusted and infuriated. I freaking love that episode. It's freaking hilarious. And speaking of one of my other favorite episodes that focuses on shipwreck, has one of the best lines, has so many good lines. 20 questions. They never address the fact that Shipwreck basically hauls off and punches Baroness in the face when she's backseat driving, disguised as, oh, now I can't remember the name, and that was part of the joke. Zartan's shooting a missile at them. He says, Sam, and the producer, or whatever he is, he's not the cameraman, but he says something like, my name is Marvin. And he's like, no, Sam, surface-to-air missile. And then he punches him in the face at one point. And, Baroness, never gets him back for that. That was a missed opportunity. But 20 Questions is probably my favorite G.I. Joe episode of all time. It's freaking hilarious. It's one of the funniest goddamn things I've ever seen. The laughing gas at the end. And you have that one line in there. Sailor in trouble, Shipwreck. We got an SOS from Shipwreck. He's in the Colorado Rockies. And what does Alpine say? Well, of course, where else would you expect to find a sailor in need? Or something like that. I've only watched that episode 8 times this year alone, so I don't know why I can't remember it. I'm tired. But we'll come back to him. Again, this is one of those figures. I saw him in the store, and I'm like, what did they do? What did they do to look how they massacred my boy, G.I. Joe. Look what they did. I could handle Spirit. I could handle Blowtorch. I could even handle Toll Booth. But this was just too far, evidently, at the time. But then again, like I said, seeing him on the cartoon, and now that I have this figure finally, he is flippin' awesome. I love Polly. I love Frank Welker doing Polly's voice. And it took me, I think 3? Yeah. I got a Shipwreck head. I bought another Shipwreck with some accessories, and a third Shipwreck with other accessories. And I've slowly, I've pieced together one complete Shipwreck. The other one is in really good shape. He's missing his boarding hooks, but he's got his gun, and he's got a Polly with a broken talon hot glued to his wrist, and he's sitting in the devilfish up on the shelf here. But I need another one still. I'd like to get another unbroken poly. But again, I can't believe I missed out on all of these back then. That's the other thing that stinks about poly is the plastic likes to flex. You'd rather have it flex than just snap on you. But I dunked him in some hot water right before this video and got him to tighten up a little bit and stuck him back on there. But now he's fallen off again. Okay, we're going to carefully put him back. Alpine is another one of those figures where it's like nice, decent, drab military colors. I don't like his jacket. I don't like his tank top. And his hat's a little weird, but again, I loved him on the cartoon. They didn't do anything worthwhile with him in the comic. His oven mitts are kind of weird, but I like all his gear. I'm missing his grappling hooks, but that's okay. Again, it took me a while to piece him together. I found him at a parking lot swap meet sale. This guy had a bunch of random Joe parts, and his O-ring was busted, and I was digging through. I found his upper torso, his waist, and his legs, and he was filthy. But I could tell looking at him, I was like, he's in really good shape. He has no paint wear. I was like, I gotta get him. I'll worry about piecing him together later. It took a good couple of years just gauging, well, how much do I want to spend on this rifle or this machine gun or this pickaxe? Backpack was easy, but slowly pieced him together. And then I found a second one that is currently sitting in the Snowcat next to Frostbite, my other Frostbite. And he was incomplete too. I mainly just wanted him just to have the figure to sit in there, and also to get his machine gun to give to Thunder. Because Thunder looks really good with that gun for some reason. But again, these three together right here. Freaking love them. Kind of have a love-hate thing going with Bazooka. I never liked his name. You know, it's not like Zap had a great name, but at least it was something different. Not just, I'm named after the weapon I use. I didn't get him until probably 89 or 90 when I found him in a flea market. Missing everything, but he was in good shape. But I never pieced him back together. I think I just got rid of everything. But now looking at him, it's a good looking figure. Oh, and you know, let's call out the elephant in the room. Something looks bigger, doesn't it? So he's holding his original Law. Well, this is definitely a Law right here. Rocket launcher. I have extras of this now. I almost want to give one to Bazooka because it's bigger and looks better, but I can't even remember who it was. Was it Formby? It might have been Formby. I think that's where I got the idea to do this. Yeah, it was. It was Formby. He had said in one of his videos how he used this rocket launcher from Large Sarge from the Core line, and it's pretty close to the same mold, just blown up. Okay, let's get back on camera here. It's pretty much the same thing, just scaled up. Some of the details are slightly different or softer, or like, this handle isn't different, but it's very, very similar. So the minute I saw it, I was like, okay, I gotta get that. I need that. And for a while, I had the web gear from the 25th Arctic Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe issue number 2 with Quinn. I had those straps on him and it looked cool. And then I put something else on him from some other 25th figure because it always bugged me that his backpack's just hanging out there. But then I just threw him back in the parts bin because it's like, hey, dude, I don't need that. I want the figure to look as derpy and vintagey as possible. If I can find something less detailed and more stylized, great. I'll put that on there. If not, nah, he doesn't need it. He's fine. He's doing good. So we're getting down to some of the, I don't want to say dregs, but some of the lesser known, less fleshed out characters. Nobody cared about these guys other than people who were, probably into the figure. Crankcase, his debut, that was actually one of the comics that got me back into G.I. Joe, too, was when Lady J is training him and Bazooka and Airtight and Heavy Metal, and then we really don't see them ever again. We see Heavy Metal and Crankcase in True Shield Abysmia when they get killed, but this was a cool figure. They should have done more with him. He appears in the background once on the Sunbow series. I like the way he's kind of got like a World War II British like soldier look to him. It kind of looks like a German helmet though, but why his helmet looks so good and these two and the 86 Hawk get these big clunky shitty helmets, I don't know, but I think that's what makes me like him even more. And it's kind of a blank I can't talk. It's kind of a blank slate. There's really not much out there regarding him. Maybe an Action Force, I don't know. So my friend Jed was all into him and the Ostriker, and that kind of carried over later on where I'm like, okay, I need this figure. He was also into this guy and the Mauler, and I kind of don't like the Mauler. Some of that may be, my views on the Mauler may be because it's so goddamn expensive, but again, the codename Crankcase, fucking awesome. Heavy Metal, really awesome. Doesn't get used on the Sunbow cartoon at all. He might be in the background once, maybe, but he doesn't really get used in the comic book either until, he debuts and then when he dies. He might be, I know he's on the cover, him and Flint are on the Mauler driving into Springfield. What is that, issue 50, I think? Again, this is technically not Heavy Metal, it's Rampage. I hate that name. And I'm hiding his broken thumb here. I've looked up replacement arms. Almost everyone I find either has a crack in the elbow or that blue patch is scraped up. So for right now, he's just going to be with that arm. I'm imagining that sooner or later I'm going to have to get a Mauler, and I'll probably shell out the extra money to get a Heavy Metal in good shape with his, strap. But I mean, I can't complain about how I got this figure. I went to Value Village one morning, right as they opened, made it to the toys before anybody else, and there was a giant, like, plastic bag. Like, I can't do it here, laying on my side on the floor with how I've got the camera set up. But this bag was huge. It had about 30, maybe 35 random figures in there. I've never seen anything like that since. Usually good figures are pieced out here and there and put in with just horrible, like, Happy Meal figures, but this was nothing but G.I. Joe and corpse figures. Core, not corpse. Core figures. Half the figures were just beat the hell up and dirty and yellowed, but there was a 85 Snake Eyes in there with a broken crotch and a broken thumb. I've since replaced him, but he's still rolling around here, waiting to get pieced back together. There was also a Sonic Fighters Viper in there that was in really good shape. Who else was in there? There was a bunch of figures in there. And it's been so long. But again, he was in there. And I was like, holy crap. And I can't remember offhand. I think Rampage goes for way more money than Heavy Metal, but Heavy Metal with the boom mic is ridiculously expensive too. I don't care about the boom mic. The boom mic for him and Sneak Peek and Lift Ticket. It's not like the figures are all that great looking to begin with, and the boom mic doesn't really add that much to them. I think the only boom mic I have is Scoop. So again, using that as a guide, it doesn't really improve the figure that much. It bugs my OCD having an incomplete figure sometimes, but I mean, there are reproductions I can buy if I really have to have one. I'm not shelling out the money for a complete one. It's stupid. Especially with Lift Ticket. Lift Ticket is fugly as fuck. I don't need Lift Ticket. I have Lift Ticket. I almost bought a, what you call it today. Speaking of Lift Ticket, what is the vehicle that Lift Ticket comes with, Nicholas? The Tomahawk. There we go. I almost bought a Tomahawk today, and then I was like, I don't need to spend 120 bucks on that right now. We'll wait. Now, no way in hell I would have had this back in the day unless I got the mail away one. But I had a flag back in 2010, 2011. But again, by then I was all balls deep in the 25th line, didn't care about the vintage figures, stupid. And I had him rolling around. I think he was in really good shape. He wasn't complete. He was missing his gun. His paint was so-so. But this was one of the first expensive figures I bought. I think, what was that, 4 years ago? 3 years ago? I think I blew about 100 and... No, wait. I think he was only 70. I can't remember now. I don't know how I'm going to mix up 70 and 130, but at the time I was like, well, we're not buying any figures for a while, because you just blew your load on one figure. But, again, looks like Tom Selleck and Clark Gable had a transporter accident, merged together like Tuvix. He's a freaking awesome figure. I might have had... No, I think I put it back. I remember seeing the 90s one with the blue jacket and the Ghost Striker thing on his back. But I think Backblast was the only one I got from that. I think I put him back in the day. But again, this is what makes me mad about some of the newer lines, and the redesigns in some of the comic books. Just give these guys collared shirts where it looks like something they would have got off the rack, or, you know, something given to them by the army. This is like timeless. This is swashbuckling, like pulp hero type of shit. I like when they have this World War I, World War II, Vietnam style of dress, because it just, I don't know, it just works. He doesn't have some weird high-tech shit on him. He's wearing a leather jacket with a blue button-up shirt. I think the most fanciful thing on him is his boots that don't look like regular boots. And you know what? I'm okay with that. It's a fucking awesome figure. Can't do much with him, though. Because I don't have a flag right now. Cry for me. Pity me. And again, didn't have him as a kid. And the Arctic guys are some of my favorites. And when I was going through, playing games with myself and being like, okay, we'll focus on this wave, we'll focus on this line, we'll focus on just getting this specialty. One of the first ones I completed after Battle Force 2000, as I'm a nerd, was the Arctic guys. And I don't believe I had him back in the day when I was collecting the 25th line, and I got a Snowcat. I got him, and of course didn't appreciate him. And there was no way to make a custom one with the parts available at the time, so my Snowcat had like snow jobs sitting in it, probably fugly 25th snow job. But again, it's kind of derpy, but he's simple, and he looks, him and Snow Job look really good together. And then when you bring Iceberg into it, he looks really good. You see I've got a black Big Ben backpack on him. I put a white one on him before too, and that looks good as well. But this adds a little bit more contrast. There's, oh, and I probably didn't even mention, again, accessory pack backpacks look really good on some of these guys. And it's a missed opportunity. When they don't come with a helmet, backpack, and gun, it just feels like less. Like you're getting cheated. This backpack looks flippin' awesome on him. Gung-hos. And just adds to the figure. I think I had a tan Big Ben backpack on him for a while, which looked good, but it was kind of bulky. That one looks good enough. I can't remember what I'm using the other one for now, but anyway. Love this rifle, this M16 with a giant-ass Starlight scope. It looks really good with Lieutenant Falcon. Totally gives him a Vietnam-era vibe. So again, a simple, really bland figure, but he's freaking awesome. And now, you know what? As promised, we're getting near the end here. I thought this would be a short one, but I mean, this is a lot of friggin' figures. Let's go to Lady J. This is only the third female in the line. I love her character on the cartoon. I love her in the comic book. This head is not great. I think I have 3 of her. This is probably the best looking one, paint-wise, as far as how the eyes look and the lipstick. The way her hair is, it makes it look like a clown, or like when somebody was balding in the 80s and would just have the big fringe on the sides. I mean, like a clown, unfortunately, but I've given her, whose gun was that? Somebody from 25th. That might have, Crocmaster. That's Crocmaster's pistol. Looks really good on her. It would probably be more appropriate to give her Downtown's pistol, which is very similar but bigger and clunkier and looks more of the time. But it's a female figure. Give her a slightly smaller one. And besides which, My 2 downtown pistols are actually with Crocmaster and Thrasher right now. So he doesn't even get his pistol right now. But compared to how the first Scarlet looked, this is a good looking figure. She looks awesome. Again, just basic, drab, military. If you kind of blur your eyes, cross your eyes a little bit, and think of her merely in 1985 toy aesthetics, she can be attractive. I mean, she doesn't have to be, I mean, but still, it's a toy. It's an idealized representation. So I wish they had made her a little bit, added some more eye candy. You know what? We are 5 minutes away from 1 hour, so I want to talk about her more, but I want to talk about Flint. Look at this guy. Bill Ratner's voice as Flint is freaking awesome. As much as I love Michael Bell as Duke, this is even better. I love him on the cartoon. I wish he was a little brash and a little more annoying in the comic, but I still liked him in there. I like him on the cartoon better. But this figure, goofy face aside, I know Jed hates that expression on his face. I've grown to like it. I didn't have him as a kid. I had the Tiger Force version, and I painted it carefully to look like this version. And I didn't really think it through. I didn't understand joints. But yeah, I painted the whole shirt black, his sleeves black. I matched the colors perfectly. It looked good. I even did the camo on his legs, repainted everything. And then it promptly started getting scratched up and rubbed off, and I just stripped everything back off. And I was sad. But it wasn't until the 25th line that I had a Flint. And that was a horrible figure. And what I did to give myself a Flint, there was a Viper. The 25th Viper chest looked really good. And I don't remember what figure it was, but there was a version of that chest molded in black. So I took that. I think I took the same arms, and what I had to do a lot of surgery with 25th figures. I had cut the arms off, dremeled in a little bit, and then glued in arms from another figure. It could have been, I think it was one of the other Flints, either the Hall of Fame Flint or the DVD pack Flint, because those arms with the slit wrists were terrible. The Duke arms, we were stuck with those for so long on so many different figures. It was so fugly. And for the lower legs, I can't remember what I used, but whatever it was, I completely redid everything. Like repainted camo, gave him legs that had twin pouches instead of that ugly one pouch Duke leg. And for his head, I cut up a Flint head, I dremeled the beret out completely, and then I looked around for heads, and I ended up using a Star Wars 30th Empire Strikes Back Echo Base Han head. That head looked awesome. It didn't quite look like Han. It looked like Harrison Ford, but it didn't quite look like Han because his ears were sticking out. It was kind of based more on like a promotional picture from the Star Wars storybook, I think. or at least one that was shown there in the cast of characters at the beginning. But that never really worked well as Han, but as Flint, once I dremeled off the top of his head, painted his eyebrows and hair black, and glued that beret on, that figure was awesome. And I don't know if I have any pictures of him lying around. I was posting pictures of my customs on his tank, you know, like what, 15 years ago, under my name, funny enough, in like Flint, and also on Joe Customs, which every time I try to go on there now, I get a like spam warning or phishing warning, like something's up with the certificate on that site. I don't even remember if I posted all my figures on there. In the end, I was doing it on his tank more because there were some weird limitations and the pictures did not size well. So there may be pictures of that Flint floating around. But you know what looks actually better than that Flint? This Flint right here. This is a heroic as fuck looking figure. The only thing that stinks. The only thing that baffles me. Why he's so short. Why? I think Shipwreck is even taller than him. Yeah. The only person, I think Snake Eyes is a little bit shorter too. Yeah, he's still taller than him, but Snake Eyes is short compared to like Dusty and wow, I'm getting tired. I'm surprised I got the names right for as long as I did. Numbers and names are the first thing to go when I get tired. This guy, the gentleman who plays Chekhov. I keep wanting to call him Ambush. What the hell? Footloose. There we go. I knew I could do it. I gotta go to bed soon. Jesus. But yeah, everybody, even... I mean, firefighters are supposed to be big dudes. But the only one who's small like that is, or the only other one, is Airtight. So it always bugged me that Lady J was taller than Flint. And, okay, I'm shedding. It's still a badass figure. I wish he was taller. I've tried swapping Footloose's legs. It's Footloose's torso that makes him so tall, not his waist or his legs, so that didn't help. But having Flint is better than not having Flint. And I have 3 of him in varying conditions. Here's another one. So I only have one complete one. The other Flint I have rolling around here is still needing some restoration. I don't have an issue with repainting stuff. I'm not selling it ever. I need to touch up the gold on him and the black on his beret. This one's been touched up. But, I don't know, putting all 3 of them. Oh, that's the poly that's hot glued. Oh, see, I'm telling lies over here. I don't even know what I'm talking about. This Shipwreck was in the Devilfish. Now he's riding bitch on here. Or no, she's riding bitch. But the Shipwreck that's in the Devilfish is a Shipwreck head on the 90s wetsuit body. The yellow and black one. Because it looks badass. So I could do another video, you know, go into the vehicles. I could stretch this video out a little bit longer, but I didn't even get to go over the Cobras. I just wanted to go over, again, for most people, this is like the definitive wave for G.I. Joe. And for me, I wasn't even involved at the time. Whoa, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Alpine. There we go. I wasn't even buying them at the time. And later on, the way prices were, I was like, I'm never going to get those figures. Those are all hard to get, hard to complete, and just little by little, paste them together. Well, except for you, and you. You need your boat, you need your tank. I do need an original Lost Striker. I have the retro re-release up there on the shelf right now. I have two of them actually, but I've got an extra dusty Footloose and crankcase sitting in that. There's other figures that are considered part of, this is 85, yeah. Like the Bridge Layer, you know, it's supposed to be an 84 Sears exclusive, but got released in 85. It's 84. It's 84 as far as I'm concerned. It's an 84 styled figure. I don't care. He goes with the 84 figures. Mostly with what I have set up here, and maybe I'll pick up the camera and show you, give you a little treat. I only have these guys down here right now for this video. They're usually up on the shelf. Usually, I try to keep the command center with just the 82, 83, and 84 figures. I don't know why I did it like that, just to keep it less cluttered, and it just seems to showcase those figures better. Let's do some arranging here really quick. So I've tried to limit the vehicles here, and you notice this laptop? One thing I've realized is if you take, and there's probably other game boards you could use, I just have a shit ton of these right now. If you take Star Wars, Ice Planet Hoth adventure game boards, or Escape from the Death Star game boards, and you flip them upside down, it looks like blacktop. I've got 3 vintage ones here, and then some re-releases that Hasbro did that came with retro-styled vintage Star Wars figures like Tarkin and Snowspeeder Pilot Luke, and you can tell they're a little bit off. This one here that's in front, you can't really see it well, but that's the R2-D2 game, and it's size slightly smaller compared to these. But you know what? If you've stuck through this video, you deserve a little bit of some eye candy here. So let's show you. Let's fix the Bridge Layers bridge really quick. It's deployed right now. I took down, whoops, that's not gonna work. I took out the table that I had in here, took that out, and I just put the command center on the floor for now. I wanted to be able to get close to this window because it gets hot up here, and I have a portable air conditioner. Then the hose needs to go in the window. And I was like, you know what? Let's just do this. So I got that out. I have access to the window better. The command center does not have a home, but you know what? There's enough room in here right now to display it on the floor and get really good access to it. And since I'm gonna do a video on it pretty soon here, we will leave it down here for a little bit longer. If I can find something lower to the ground, like a command center, an entertainment center, to put the command center on, I might do that. Something black that matches, you know, the rest of my decor. But I always wanted a G.I. Joe command center. I never had one as a kid. And when I saw that some people were doing things to customize it, like adding extra vehicle bays, I wanted to do that. So again, it's primarily 82, 83, and 84 figures. Basically, swivel necks. No ball and socket necks. Though I could just put all these guys in there and then just add the Ostriker and this other Ostriker. It's one of my favorite comics. It's badly drawn by Tony Salmons. I mean, it's a certain style. Not everybody likes it, but I loved the three of them rolling around in that. That was awesome. But a lot of my other vehicles are all set up all fancy. What you call it, Snowcat is up on my desk right now because I'm thinking of also doing an Arctic Team video. Overflow. So, we've got the Mobat, finally got a Slugger, finally got a Wolverine. I need to redo the stickers on all of them. Got the Dragonfly. I've got stickers for that I need to put on. Again, I have to have extra Mobats and Vamps, apparently. Got this, the bomb disposal unit, but I really need the weapons transport. I think that'll look good when I get that in here. We've got two Rams. I had all of these set up around it before, but it was looking too cluttered. Basically 2 of every single cannon. But anyway, I think I'm gonna wrap this up. We're over an hour now. And this was all one long cut. It's a little lazy, but I've been seeing other people do that in videos. And I didn't really have to edit anything in this or go back and fix anything, so I just kept going with it. And again, really quick, this is when Joe started to branch out from just olive green, like these guys. Whoops. Why are you rolling away? To different colors, different styles, and it worked at the time. I didn't have as adverse a reaction to them as I did to these guys, but now, again, one of my favorite things about the Joes is just how ridiculous some of them are dressed. And some of the bright colors work for me. Neon, not so much, but I've even softened on some of that in my old age. Mirage. Who else is there? There's a lot of figures from the late 90s, or not late 90s, from the early 90s that actually aged pretty decent. There's even these guys. Look at all this fluorescent orange and green. And I love them for it. It's okay. Everybody can coexist together. Because in the end, we can always go back to these guys. To the originals. Oh, and that's right. Everybody else, all the swivel arms that were displayed up here are in the collector's case from that last video I did. I still haven't got around to putting everybody back out. I gotta work on that maybe tonight. But anyway, it is probably almost 11:30 here right now. And I'm getting tired. I'm getting kind of tired. But let's pull back here. So I've got a couple more of these on the way, but I folded that up so it doesn't look as good now. But you can see that's more matte, and these ones are more satiny and have a texture on them that looks better. That's the Death Star Escape original version. So I've got 3 of those flipped upside down, and they look really good. It reminds me of the deck of the USS Flag almost, and it adds so much to this display. So I'm gonna get a couple more so I can have these end pieces done the same. It'll look more cohesive, like more of a unit, like an actual, you know, play mat or something that was included with the thing. So looking forward to that. So maybe I'll wait a little bit longer to do the video. But again, they're just, oh, it's so beautiful. So bright. So beautiful. Even these stupid air defense missiles look good on here. I'm sorry, Cobra Commander. We'll get you out of there. Anyway, I'm just showing off now. This is harkening back to some of my earlier videos that were kind of probably sloppy, but I'll add something nice at the beginning and the end. Give it some spit and polish. It's no problem for the bridge layer. I need to make a custom driver for the APC. I need to work on that. Okay, I'm just showing off now. You guys don't need to see all this. Or let me know in the comments. I haven't done a rambling one for a while. But anyway, there is something about getting down here at this level and just seeing all that black faux blacktop and the command center in the background. It just feels like good. So we'll pan this way again. Checkpoint Alpha and what will be Checkpoint Beta once I get some replacement stickers. Watchtower. Watchtower. Missile. Missile. Alright. I gotta wrap this up, guys. I'm tired. Thank you if you stuck around to the end. I appreciate it. Kind of doing this just again to see what comes of it, if I get an audience or not. But either way, even if I don't, I'm gonna keep doing this just for myself. This is fun. If other people like it, great. All right. I need to do some Cobra videos though. Okay, well, we're gonna wrap this up. Well, no, we are wrapping this up. We've been wrapping this up for 17 minutes now. Again, like I said, Flint is the man. You can be in, you can be out, but being in like Flint is what it's all about. All right, everybody. Thank you again for tuning in. Take care of yourselves and have a great night. Thanks. Bye-bye.